The entire bottom half of a mermaid was found along the beaches of Jamaica. It's not on.
It's another tunnel. This is tunnel number 8 of the Shinobutai.
Increased by about 70% over the last 3.5 years due to inflation.
What the hell is going on? A video blowing up across social media has the whole world frozen. Folks in Jamaica hauling something freaky onto the shore, bottom half covered in fish scales. Screams, crashing waves, and pure panic all mixed in that blurry footage, like the ocean just spat back something humanity wasn't ready for. Scientists jumped in right away, but the specimen vanished hours later. No DNA, no data, no proof. Just the clip and millions swearing, that thing ain't no fish. Meanwhile, the spiritual crowd's calling it the first sign, when the deep wakes up, signaling the sealed stuff is about to break free. Then the world gets sucked into a spiral of unexplainable chaos. Storm Melissa hits way beyond forecasts, wiping out an entire coastline and accidentally uncovering a World War II war tunnel, packed with artifacts never logged in history. Up in the sky, Heaven's Gate, this blazing light vortex pops up out of nowhere, hanging there for minutes. Witnesses say they heard trumpet, like echoes booming from the clouds. Then massive hail pours down in the middle of scorching summer, wrecking crops, screwing up food supplies, and kicking off widespread famine. At the same time, photos go viral. Clouds shaped like the Lord, eyes gazing down on us. And in the Middle East, archaeologists uncover an ancient cave beneath a 1,000-year-old temple. Inside, inscriptions matching prophecies from the Book of Daniel. It all unfolds like a supernatural domino chain. From the deep sea to the heavens, from the storm to underground, everything feels orchestrated by the same invisible hand. Is this just nature's wild coincidences? Or are biblical warnings turning real? Are we at the dawn of a new era? Or is judgment closing in? If you're still watching, you're probably sensing something off around us too. These inexplicable events, one sign after another, like the skies are trying to tell humanity something. Hit like, share this video, and subscribe to join us decoding the mysteries the world's terrified to face. Every interaction helps spread the truth before it gets buried in silence. And don't skip to the end to catch the specific warnings from God for America, because these signs are just the beginning. What comes next will leave even science speechless. From Storm Melissa, the Heaven's Gate vortex, to the giant hail, it's all weaving a picture of something about to rise. And right now, come with me as we dive deep into the chain of events that followed the Jamaican mermaid sighting, to see whether what's unfolding is nature's coincidence or a warning scripted in the Bible, coming true line by line. First sign, the mermaid. The first sign. Have you ever wondered, what if one day the ocean, thought to be silent, started whispering sounds that don't belong to this world? A short video from Jamaica's waters spread like wildfire. A few fishermen in panic lowered a strange creature into the sea. Its lower half, a fish tail. No one knows what happened next. Only the heavy slap of waves against the boat, like a warning. That same day, waters around Jamaica churned with black whirlpools, dozens of meters deep, the surface glowing with eerie blue-green phosphorescence. Fishermen swore they heard singing under the waves, low, distant, relentless, like a call from the deep. Scientists stayed silent. DNA samples were sent off, but the results were never released. By sheer coincidence, the Bible doesn't treat water as just life. It's the boundary between order and chaos. Genesis 1-2 says, "The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters." And Revelation 9-1-2 describes the abyss opening, smoke rising like from a gigantic furnace. Those words were once just symbols, until people saw the waters truly rising, not with waves, but with things science has no name for. From that moment, the world entered an unprecedented chain of upheavals. Storm Melissa, a tempest defying every weather model, stripping away ancient soil, and exposing a sealed World War II war tunnel. A massive ring of light appeared in the sky. People called it the Heaven's Gate. Hailstones the size of boulders fell in blazing summer. Famine swept continents. And at the same time, an ancient cave was suddenly uncovered beneath a 1,000-year-old temple. Everything unfolded in sequence. Nothing random, nothing off. Beat, like an invisible hand rewriting the order of things. Some religious scholars call it the awakening of creation, when things buried in the earth, the sea, and the human soul begin to stir. The line between nature and prophecy, fact and omen, is gone. Everything merging into one unified signal. Sea storm, hail, light, all seeming to say the same thing in unison. Something is coming. Not by chance, no longer a myth, and every sign began the instant humans pulled the first wonder from the abyss. Second sign, Hurricane Melissa, the fury carrying secrets of war. And get this, while the waves off Jamaica were still churning, on the other side of the ocean the sky started shifting. Winds flipped direction. Pressure dropped so fast the weather stations couldn't keep up. They slapped the name Melissa on a storm nobody could explain, forming outside every rule of meteorology humans had ever mapped. It didn't follow any track, like an invisible hand was steering it. Everywhere it passed, black clouds spun into weird spirals, and lightning didn't strike the ground, it slashed sideways across the sky. Thousands of security cams, millions of phones captured the same thing. Flashes inside the storm, forming a perfect ring of light, like the heavens had cracked open a portal. But the real shock wasn't in the storm itself. It was what it left buried under the mud. When Melissa fizzled out, a landslide exposed an ancient tunnel smack in the middle of the wreckage. Moss, covered walls, black stone etched with strange symbols. Experts recognized it instantly. A sealed World War II military tunnel, locked away for over 80 years. Inside, beyond the usual war relics, were ancient religious icons, crosses, Hebrew letters, and one wall carved with the words Lux Aeterna, eternal light. Archaeologists were floored. Some of us think it was a hiding place for lost sacred artifacts, maybe tied to the Ark of the Covenant or relics from the ancient temple in Jerusalem. Others insist it was just a secret base, but no one can explain why a natural storm dug up that exact spot out of millions of square miles of rock and dirt. In the Bible, Luke 21:25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea." Could Melissa be that sign? A tempest sent to jolt humanity's memory, dragging up from the earth what history tried to bury? Medieval prophets used to say, when the storm finds the land, it doesn't just uproot trees, it uproots memories. And sure enough, Melissa didn't just tear down houses or forests. It ripped away the thick dust coating the past, forcing the world to face what we humans once hid under the banner of war. Some call it a disaster. Others see it as heaven's purge, when nature doesn't just clear the air, it scrubs history clean. Because sometimes the real storm doesn't come from the clouds, it comes from the sins we buried deep in the memory of mankind. The third sign, Heaven's Gate, a harbinger of the opening between two realms. The sky still hasn't stopped sending strange signals. After the storms, the rumbles from deep underground, people are now looking up again, where light is no longer just light, and clouds are no longer just clouds. Something is starting to open in midair, like a door slowly spinning between two worlds. People in countries all over the world reported the same bizarre sight: swirling cloud funnels shaped like cylinders, with a brilliant blue-white beam blazing right through the center, stretching hundreds of meters. Planes steered clear, radars went haywire, and down on the ground, everyone just stopped, looked up, and went quiet. A few said they heard sounds echoing from somewhere impossibly far away, nothing like anything on Earth. Science tried to explain it. Just hole, punch clouds, or light interference in the troposphere. But here's the weird part. On the exact same day, the phenomenon popped up simultaneously across 3 continents, half a world apart, all at 3:33 a.m. local time. Random coincidence? Or something orchestrated? On social media, videos of the sky portal spread like wildfire. Some swore it was proof of the secret Blue Beam project, a plan to fake the second coming with hologram tech. Others insisted no technology could produce light that seemed to breathe, pulsing like it was alive. Theologians started paying attention. They brought up Genesis 28-17, when Jacob woke from his dream of the ladder to heaven and said, "How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." Are we living through the moment when the veil between worlds is thinning? When things hidden in the divine realm start casting shadows on earth? One Bible scholar put it this way: these signs feel like an invitation, not to scare us, but to remind us that heaven is closer than we think. Yet at the same time, physicists warned, if those energy spirals really are cracking open some kind of plasma gate between atmospheric layers, we're staring at something science has never faced, a rip between dimensions. From a mix of dread and wonder, the world began to ask, if heaven's gate is opening, who steps through first, us or the one returning? And as night fell, those glowing spirals kept quietly turning, like a vast eye gazing down on humanity, waiting for each soul's answer. Because maybe that door isn't just up in the sky, it's opening inside the human heart, where the line between faith and fear has never been thinner. The fourth sign: giant hailstones, judgment from the sky. The world was still reeling from the Heaven's Gate phenomenon when another strange omen struck. This time, not light, but massive chunks of ice plummeting from above. When the heavens opened, it seemed like a blessing was coming, but what poured down was judgment. And now, the sky itself appears to be raining its own warning on humanity. In the blazing heat of summer, with temperatures soaring past 40 degrees Celsius, the hailstorms began. Not the usual tiny pellets, but blocks of ice weighing dozens of kilos, smashing through roofs, wrecking cars, and tearing up fields. In Texas, they recorded a hailstone nearly 2.3 kilograms, the size of a basketball. In Spain, footage showed the sky suddenly going dark, then thousands of white ice bombs hurtling down like cannon fire. What baffled scientists? There were no signs of a cold front forming in the area. The air was dry, the troposphere stable, yet the phenomenon hit suddenly and spread wide. One meteorologist said, "It's like an invisible hand is hurling rocks from the sky." Many radar sensors even picked up dense energy streams moving parallel to the hail paths, as if the source wasn't natural at all. As those giant hailstones melted, some witnesses claimed they saw strange glowing streaks inside, like tiny glowing metal threads. Conspiracy theories spread fast. Was this some kind of atmospheric experiment, or the rain of judgment foretold? But beyond the debates, a quiet fear is spreading that what's falling isn't just ice, but a message. In Revelation 16:21, it says, "Great hailstones, about 1 talent in weight, fell from the sky on people, and they blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail." That verse, once seen as just a symbolic image of wrath, is now being quoted in sermons as a wake-up call that the time of judgment is drawing near. If storms are the earth's fury, then hail is heaven's warning. Nature is acting like a messenger, reminding humanity that everything we think is solid is just a fragile illusion. Those falling ice chunks don't just destroy things, they shatter pride, forcing people to look up instead of down. When the sky unleashes those glowing ice boulders, maybe heaven is writing something new, not with words, but with stone. And in the middle of that storm, the question echoes, has judgment already begun? And are we just too afraid to believe it? The fifth sign: widespread hunger. When the earth refuses to feed humanity, when the sky stops pouring, the ground starts refusing. And this time, what people face isn't a natural disaster, It's the consequences of their own actions. Can you believe it? Cold numbers are hammering into every news report. 42 million Americans lose food assistance after the government partially shutters the welfare system. Food banks are empty. Endless lines of people waiting for bread stretch on forever. In many states, stores switch to fully digital payments. No cash, no bartering. Only those with an electronic verification code are allowed to buy food. The judgment stones have just melted, not even enough to ease the fear in people's hearts, when another kind of hunger quietly rises, not loud like a storm, not fierce like fire, but cold and draining like darkness spreading in silence. When the sky stops pouring, the ground starts refusing. And this time, what people face isn't a natural disaster. It's the consequences of their own actions. Cold numbers are hammering into every news report. 42 million Americans lose food assistance after the government partially shutters the welfare system. Food banks are empty. Endless lines of people waiting for bread stretch on forever. In many states, stores switch to fully digital payments. No cash, no bartering. Only those with an electronic verification code are allowed to buy food. The scene chills many, reminding them of the prophecy in Revelation 13:17. No one can buy or sell unless they have the mark of the beast. A warning once thought symbolic now echoes in real life, where people slowly trade freedom for convenience, losing their humanity in soulless digital codes. Hunger isn't just in empty stomachs, it's spreading into souls. As food runs out, people start distrusting each other. Neighbors hide bread, friends fight over cartons of milk. TV reports looting and riots over food, while the government claims the situation is under control. But beneath that veneer of order, a terrifying truth emerges. The earth seems to be refusing to sustain humanity. Scientists say farmland is dying, soil microbes destroyed by chemicals, crops losing their natural resilience. Rain no longer nourishes, it washes away. And the earth, once a nurturing mother, is now exhausted from being exploited to the brink. An old pastor said in his weekend sermon, "Hunger isn't just lacking bread, it's when people forget who gave the seed." His words echoed in the empty hall, a reminder of a deeper hunger than the physical. Hunger for faith, hunger for gratitude. When the land stops producing, when people have to scan a code to eat, and when everything has a price except conscience, maybe it's not just a crisis, it's the start of a separation. An era where the earth no longer walks with humanity, because humanity has forgotten how to walk with heaven. The sixth sign, clouds in the shape of the Lord, when the sign appears in the sky. After famine spread like a crack through the heart of the world, just when you'd think nothing could shock humanity any further, the sky spoke up, not with thunder or hail, but with an image that left millions speechless. A radiant face in the clouds, bearing the likeness of the Savior. Do you believe in miracles? Or is this a test from the very one we worship? The clips were captured everywhere, from Brazil and Italy to the American South. Same sight each time. Clouds glowing bright, edged like a halo, with the outline of a figure, arms outstretched in the middle. Hundreds dropped to their knees in the streets, staring up and trembling. "He's back!" they cried, but others sounded the alarm. "Something's off. The sky doesn't light up like that." Meteorologists chalked it up to sunlight, reflecting through a thick layer of water vapor in the atmosphere. The weird part? There was no sunlight at that hour. The clouds appeared, blazed, then vanished, all in a matter of minutes, like an invisible hand had sketched it and wiped it away. Pastors, theologians, and Bible scholars immediately turned to Matthew 24:24, the warning. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. That prophecy now rings like a wake-up call. Are we witnessing a true miracle or getting swept into the deceptive haze of the end times? Some scholars call it the faith test sign, when humanity's belief is put under the spotlight on the line between real and fake, light and dark. Others think it's a final reminder to turn back before the Antichrist shows up with counterfeit powers. Those glowing clouds might just be the opening act for a bigger illusion being staged worldwide. Independent research groups have noted a strange spike in religious light phenomena over the past few months. Plenty of videos are suspected to be hologram or plasma projections from satellites. But even if it's all fake, the question lingers: who wants us to believe the heavens have opened? Up in the sky, that light has faded, but in people's hearts, another fire has ignited, between faith and doubt. Because maybe the real challenge isn't in seeing the sign, but in what we choose to believe in an age where truth and lies, light and shadow, are separated by nothing more than a thin veil of cloud. The seventh sign, the cavern beneath the ancient temple, a buried secret. Deep under the heavy stone of that ancient land, a door has just swung open, not by chance, but as if someone wanted humanity to finally see what's been hidden for thousands of years. The story we're stepping into isn't just an archaeological find. It's an echo straight out of Scripture, where prophecy once warned that hidden things will be revealed. The first explorers who pushed into the temple zone described it like this: the air hit them ice, cold, stealing their breath, while flashlight beams barely picked out walls carved with strange symbols. 6 pointed stars tangled with images of the Egyptian sun god, a crossover that makes no sense between two faiths that should be worlds apart. At the cave's heart, they found a dust-covered stone altar, etched deep with an ancient word, Beret, meaning covenant. The moment word leaked, authorities sealed the site. Every photo, every scrap of data, confiscated. International media caught only a handful of blurry shots, then silence. But the weird part? The very next night, a mild quake collapsed part of the temple roof, exposing a deeper passage, as if the ground itself was determined to spill what humans tried to bury. Scholars started arguing right away. Some say it's a relic from the Egyptian exile, when the Jews forged a private covenant with God to be set free. Others insist the altar doesn't belong to any religion. It's a trace of the fallen generation, those who broke faith with heaven. And if that's true, this temple surfacing now isn't random. It's the seal being broken, a sign that the age of exposure has begun. Scripture puts it plain in Luke 8:17. Nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed. Nothing is concealed that will not be made known. Words that once felt like metaphor now ring out amid the whine of drills and the glare of excavation lamps. Are the things we buried no longer allowed to stay underground? Is a light finally shining into history's darkest corners, dragging out the sins humanity tried to hide? And if this really is the seventh seal cracking open, it's more than an archaeological dig. It's a warning. Heaven has started opening the books, and everything once buried in darkness is about to step into the light. Every piece is now coming into view. From the deep sea to the sky, from Storm Melissa to the cavern beneath the ancient temple, all these seemingly scattered events are linked up into one single picture. And if what we're seeing is just the tip of a plan already written, don't you wonder what's coming next? The chain of 7 wonders isn't random. They follow an order, an almost orchestrated sequence. It starts with the abyss rising, where half-fish creatures surfaced in the northern seas, like a warning from the heart of the water. Then nature rebels, storms, hail, famine, cracking earth. The planet seems unable to bear the sins humanity has piled on it. When nature's fury peaks, the heavens open. Clouds shaped like crosses, light flooding Jerusalem, trumpet sounds echoing over the desert, all of it a reminder that the veil between earth and sky is wearing thin. If you looked up on those days, you probably felt it too. A chill down your spine, yet something holy. Then history gets laid bare. The World War II tunnel exposed by Melissa's rage, unearthing secrets buried in blood and guilt. Next, the cavern under the old temple, holding symbols of a betrayed covenant. Both discoveries are like doors swinging open to the past, where the divine forces humanity to face its own darkness. Put it all together and you see a complete structure: water, earth, sky, soul. Each layer peeled back reveals another slice of truth. It's the cycle the prophets described. First, the earth will cry out, then the heavens will answer, and finally, the truth will be unveiled. It's no coincidence that every sign hits within the same narrow window. Science might call it chance, but anyone who knows Scripture recognizes the order of revelation. The world is passing through layers of judgment, from the physical to the spiritual. And when the final layer lifts, there'll be nowhere left to hide. Scripture foretold it in Job 12:22. He reveals the deep things of darkness and brings utter darkness into the light. Right now, those words are coming alive. The wonders aren't just weather events. They're the unveiling of a sacred design. Every storm, every rumble beneath the ground, every flash in the sky is a signal. And the 7 signs, pieced together, form one complete warning. Everything hidden is being exposed, and time is closing in. Can you feel it? That we're stepping toward the edge of something far bigger than ourselves? Every storm, every thunderclap, every cloud, they're all messages from the heavens. But amid nature's roar, we've grown used to covering our ears. These signs aren't here to scare us. They're here to wake us up, not to make us tremble, but to make us pause, listen, and remember, we were never the masters of this world. The mermaid pulled from the depths isn't just a myth. She's the first spark in a chain of awakenings. Then came Storm Melissa, nature's fury washing away the soil that hid the sins of war. Then the gates of heaven parted in the clouds. Hail fell. The ground shook, as if sky, earth, and sea were shouting in unison to humanity. Time is running out. What's happening now is no coincidence. Every sign is a puzzle piece clicking into place. The abyss stirring, nature rebelling, the sky splitting open, history laid bare. This chain mirrors the unfolding of revelation, when the layers of creation are roused one by one, preparing for the moment truth is revealed. Perhaps the scariest part isn't what we see out there, it's the silence inside us. When the seas rage, mountains roar, clouds part, yet human hearts stay cold. The more the world shakes, the more people run from themselves, from faith, from compassion. But no one can hide forever from the call of the heavens, because when the deep speaks, when the sea answers the sky, it's not just a natural spectacle, it's creation in conversation. The heavens remind us, I am still here. And the question echoes to each of us, can you still hear? If one day you see clouds shaped like the Lord, hear waves like prayers, or watch the earth crack open in broad daylight, that's not the end. It's the last chance to wake up. Because revelation doesn't come to destroy, it comes to usher in a new beginning. For those who learn humility, who return to truth, to light, to love. This world is waiting for one simple thing, for people to bow their heads. Not out of fear, but reverence. Not to lose everything, but to reclaim what we've forgotten, faith. The heavens aren't silent. We're the ones who stopped listening. And when earth, sea, and sky all speak at once, there are only 2 choices: keep sleeping or wake up and come home. If you believe everything happening carries a message, let your heart open. Share this video. Spread that call to more people. Because who knows, one small act today might be the light guiding someone through the dark. Like, share, and subscribe. Not just to catch the next sign, but to wake up together. Because when we all listen, this world will hear the voice of the heavens again.
I don't think it's on the ground yet, but you can barely make it.
Well, the tombstone was found by a man using his metal detector on a demolition site.
Local media say that authorities have collected water samples to
What the hell is going on? Nobody knows what's happening to America. The sky's changing color. Rivers are boiling. Ancient rocks are bursting from the earth like someone's popping the lid on the planet's memories. And everything, it all lines up with words written thousands of years ago. Scientists call it climate change, but people on the street call it signs. Some hear sounds like trumpets. Some see human-shaped lights in the middle of storms. Some say, the ground's shaking because the Lord's about to come back. It's not just natural phenomena. Every shift has a rhythm, like a wake-up bell. What's happening in the sky, in the water, under the ground? It's all telling the same story, but nobody dares say it out loud. Is this just a coincidence? Or a chain of warnings before the day the chosen one returns, when the elect gets taken up and the world sinks into chaos? It all starts with strange little events, but put them together and you'll see. Earth is speaking. And the question is, how much time do we have left before every prophecy becomes reality? If you've ever felt this world is changing in a way that's not normal, come with us to the end of this story. Don't forget to like and share so others can see what's really going on. Because sometimes one small action from you can wake up a sleeping soul. And if you believe nothing's random, subscribe so you don't miss a single sign. Every video is a piece of the big picture of heaven's painting. Now, take a deep breath. Keep your mind calm. What you're about to hear isn't just news. It's a warning written from the very beginning. Follow me through every phenomenon, from the sky, the land, to the ocean floor, to hear what nature's saying to humanity before he speaks for the last time. Now, let's dive into 8 bizarre phenomena that have shaken the world and how they eerily match prophecies with 100% accuracy. First strange phenomenon, sign in the sky, light of the firekeeper. Amid a time when the world keeps seeing weird sky events, a video from Massachusetts left millions stunned. In a raging storm with constant thunder and lightning, a glowing human figure suddenly appeared in the clouds, standing still, silent, and then vanishing like it was never there. No one knows if it was an illusion or a message from somewhere higher being sent down. That light didn't flicker like lightning or flash like charged reflections. It had a shape, clear outlines, like a person in a cloak, surrounded by a soft but intense halo that gave everyone who saw it chills. The video spread like wildfire on social media, with thousands commenting they'd seen the firekeeper in the storm. Meteorologists later chimed in, saying it might be a sprite, a type of high-altitude lightning. But something doesn't add up. Sprites usually move, while this image stayed perfectly still for over 3 minutes, long enough for multiple cameras to capture the same moment from different angles. That left scientists baffled. No unusual electrical data in the area, no light interference that could recreate such a sharp human form. The more they analyzed, the quieter they got. And when reason can't explain it, faith starts to spark. In the book of Ezekiel, the prophet described his vision. I saw a figure like a man made of fire, glowing from the waist up and from the waist down. Ezekiel 1:27. That description, over 2,000 years old, suddenly came alive in a 21st century storm. Is it just a coincidence, or a sign that the sky is repeating biblical language with fire's own light? People call him the firekeeper, a symbol of fading faith reignited in chaotic darkness. Maybe this isn't just nature, but the first warning, a reminder that heaven is still watching, still testing human faith before the true light returns. And when the sky gives that sign, we're left with one question. Is this the flame foretelling his return, or the last light before darkness swallows humanity? The second strange phenomenon, mysterious, trumpet-shaped tornado in Oklahoma. Right in the middle of Oklahoma's flat plains, where the skies used to nothing but wind and thunder, a tornado rolled in that left scientists and locals alike speechless. It wasn't just the destruction, it was the bizarre shape. The funnel's core looked exactly like a giant trumpet, blasting straight up into the heavens. And the real spine chiller, the sound coming from it, not wind, not thunder, but a resonant call, echoing from the clouds. People there say the sky went black, and then they heard it, long, vibrating, low, like a warning. One guy said, "I thought someone was playing a trumpet, but when I looked up, all I saw was the funnel flashing with lightning." The videos show sound waves pulsing out from the center, steady and rhythmic, instantly reminding folks of the trumpet from heaven in Revelation. Scientists jumped on it right away. Radar picked up a 27-second sound wave, something never recorded in any EF5 tornado in history. Every measurement said this wasn't random wind noise, a deep, even, low-frequency tone, like a stable source, right in the eye of the storm. They tested ideas about pressure, interference, or electrical noise, but no model could recreate it. While researchers puzzled over graphs and waveforms, believers saw a familiar warning. The book of Nahum says, "The Lord has his way in the whirlwind and in the storm." Nahum 1-3. To them, a trumpet in the tempest wasn't a coincidence. It was a call, God's breath blowing through the world, stirring souls still asleep. Because if a storm is just weather, why the trumpet shape? If the sound is pure chance, why does it ring out like an ancient summons? Every question points the same way. Maybe the wind has become heaven's language, and we're only just starting to hear it. In an age of machines, explanations, and formulas, there are still moments that remind us something lies beyond measuring. And when trumpet-shaped winds sweep across America, maybe heaven isn't just warning about the weather, but waking hearts that have been silent too long. The third strange phenomenon, the ancient inscribed stone with no explanation in Louisiana. People still think Louisiana is just swamps, water snakes, and sleepy little towns baking under the southern sun. But then, right in the middle of a quiet garden, something pushes up out of the ground. A stone slab covered in weird symbols, half Latin, half Hebrew, coated in green moss, like it's been asleep for thousands of years. Nobody knows where it came from. Nobody's ever seen that kind of rock around here. And when the archaeologists try to figure out its origin, all they can say is, it doesn't belong here. The words carved on the surface, faded as they are from centuries of wear, still spell out one short line that gives a lot of people chills. The earth will give back what it hid. It sounds like a warning, or maybe a promise, that the past never really dies. It's just waiting for the right moment to come back. Roman scholars swear they've never seen a slab that mixes these two sacred languages side by side, the language of empire and the language of covenant. They tested the stone. The results show it's made of a marble, like the kind that only comes from Cappadocia, Turkey, halfway around the world from Louisiana. How does a 2,000-year-old artifact carrying traces of the Near East end up in the middle of America? No shipping records, no dig marks, just a slight crack in the soil, as if the ground itself decided to open up and hand back something that had been buried way too long. The archaeology world is stumped, but for anyone who believes the Bible, that line brings to mind Revelation 20:13. The sea gave up the dead that were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead that were in them. Could this be a reminder that the time of revelation is getting close? That everything once buried, sins, power, the secrets of history, will all be brought into the light? The faint symbols carved around the edge, under UV light, seem to form a spiral pointing upward, like the swirl of rebirth. Some scholars say it's a sign of an ancient burial rite, where the dead were promised they'd rise again with the final light. But if this slab really is a promise from long ago, then who sent it here? And why now? Maybe, in an age when people are slowly forgetting their roots, the earth is speaking for heaven. When the ancient stone rises, it doesn't just wake up history, it wakes up the sacred memory humanity's been trying to bury. Because once the ground starts giving back what it kept, the day the Lord returns might not be far off. The fourth strange phenomenon, the mysterious blood river in Mississippi. Mississippi, the land of blues music and gentle rivers winding through fields of snow-white cotton. But no one could have imagined that this very place would become the epicenter of a phenomenon that left both scientists and the religious reeling. One morning after a heavy rain, locals looked down into the riverbed and saw the usually crystal clear water had turned a deep, blood-red crimson. Dead fish floated everywhere along the banks, the air thick with a fishy stench. They said, "The water's breathing like there's a soul writhing down below." Scientists rushed in to take samples and analyze them. They found red algae, the same organism that's turned a few lake colors before, but here, its concentration was way beyond any natural limit. What's more, the phenomenon didn't stop at one stretch of river. It spread across nearly 60 miles, through multiple tributaries, as if guided by an invisible hand. It can't just be a biological reaction, one environmental expert admitted, because there's no natural condition that could make algae explode like this. The old folks around here recalled the story from Exodus 7:20. When Moses raised his staff, the Nile's waters turned to blood, signaling the start of the plagues. Others brought up Revelation 16:3, and the sea turned to blood like that of a dead person, and every living thing in it died. They stared at the Red River, then looked up at the hazy sky, whispering, "Could it be happening again?" When cameras captured footage of the water shifting color in the middle of a bright morning, online viewers couldn't look away. Some comments said, "If you slow it down, you'll see waves of deep red rising in pulses, like a heartbeat." Someone wrote, "Maybe the earth is crying." But if the earth is crying, why? Because of human sin? Or because it's witnessing once more the spiral of judgment about to begin? Science keeps hunting for the cause, but every explanation stalls at anomalous. No one dares confirm it, and no one dares deny it. Because in this world, when water turns to blood and the life in it slowly dies, all that's left is one question echoing from ancient times. When judgment comes, who can stand? And perhaps Mississippi is just the first warning. When rivers start changing color, the sky might be getting ready to speak too. Because the prophecy is clear. Before he returns, the earth will tremble, the waters will run red, and humanity will be called by name. The fifth strange phenomenon: two mysterious comets crossing in the sky. Some nights the sky seems to speak. No thunder, no dark clouds, just a strange light is enough to silence millions as they watch. In the vast emptiness of space, two comets, Swan and Lemon, rushed in from opposite directions, and at the exact moment the Orionid meteor shower peaked, they crossed, forming a blazing X, like a cross hanging in the heavens. The sight lasted barely over a minute, but cameras, telescopes, and countless eyes all caught it. NASA confirmed the odds of this alignment were under 0.001%, practically impossible. Two orbits millions of kilometers apart somehow intersected precisely in Earth's line of sight, right as meteors fell like silver rain. Plenty of scientists admitted, the universe sometimes creates coincidences the human mind can't fully grasp. But to many with faith, it wasn't coincidence. It was a sign from heaven. Revelation 8:10 says, "A great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch. That night, two comets crossed like twin torches, lighting the sky as if stamping a seal before humanity's eyes. On one side, Swan's pure white glow, called the Swan, symbolizes purity and mercy. On the other, Lemon's pale, ashen yellow, sign of warning and judgment. Where their paths met, people saw a fiery cross, the intersection of love and justice, redemption and punishment. On social media, millions shared the images at lightning speed. Could this be a reminder that, in an age when humanity has lost its way, heaven chose a sign bright enough to wake even sleeping souls? Could light and darkness meeting be a forewarning of the final convergence, when mercy and judgment appear together in the sky? If earlier signs came from earth, water, wind, this time, the heavens themselves spoke. And perhaps, when two comets crossed, the line between time and eternity grew thin. For every prophecy points to one thing: he is coming soon. The sixth strange phenomenon: Discovery of an ancient temple beneath the Grand Canyon, a mystery still unsolved. Amid the deep red rock walls of the Grand Canyon, seen as the ancient heart of America, explorers stumbled onto a secret the world had never heard of. A dark, narrow entrance led them to walls carved with strange symbols, some Egyptian in style, others ancient Hebrew letters. Two civilizations separated by an ocean, yet both present deep inside American soil, something that seemed impossible. But that wasn't the most shocking part. In the deepest chamber of the cave, they found a large stone slab engraved with the image of a cherubim, the guardian angel described in the book of Exodus and Revelation, an image tied to the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred object said to hold the presence of God himself. The big question hit immediately. Why would a symbol of ancient Israel appear in the heart of America, a place with no recorded history connected to the Holy Land? When the expedition sent their report to the Bureau of Archaeology, the entire area was quickly sealed off. All documents, all photos vanished from public records. A few witnesses said they were told to stay quiet for national security reasons. Since then, no one has been allowed near that cave. For many, that silence is the clearest confirmation. What they found could shake the very foundations of human history. Bible scholars say that if this discovery is real, it might prove what was foretold in Luke 8:17. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. Is the earth itself opening its mouth, revealing what people once tried to hide? Are sacred traces from the time of the prophets slowly being allowed by heaven to surface, right when humanity has lost its faith? From Egypt to Israel, then across the ocean to the Grand Canyon, the path of these symbols no longer seems random. Every carved line, every stone slab feels like it's telling a story about the return of the divine. And maybe this isn't just an archaeological dig, but a wake-up call from deep in the earth, reminding us, before the final great light appears, everything hidden will be brought into the open. When people dig deep into the ground, they're not just uncovering history, they might be touching prophecies that have slept for thousands of years. The seventh strange phenomenon: mysterious ancient Hebrew inscriptions on stones in Utah and the Appalachians burst. Amid the arid deserts and wild mountain forests of America, two ancient stone slabs were suddenly discovered and immediately silenced the archaeological community. One stands isolated in Utah, the other hidden deep in the Appalachians, thousands of miles apart, yet both carved in the same ancient language, ancient Hebrew. On the stone surfaces, just 3 words, but enough to send chills down your spine: judgment and mercy. Between those 2 words is the symbol of an all-seeing eye, staring straight into the void, an image the Bible calls shamar, meaning to guard. No crude chisel marks or modern restoration, just the patina of time worn smooth, proving they've lain there for thousands of years. Geological analysis dates both slabs to over 3,000 years old, far earlier than any civilization ever recorded in North America. The question arises: who carved them? And why does the language of ancient Israel appear in places where no Jewish foot had ever trod? Some archaeologists fall silent. Others admit, if these aren't forgeries, all of human history will have to be rewritten. Because between civilizations thought to be utterly separate, there may once have been a sacred thread connecting them, something modern man is only now beginning to touch. In the Bible, 2 Chronicles 16-9 says, "For the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him." Could these 2 slabs be a sign of that very verse? A reminder that the Creator is still watching, still guarding every land, every soul, even if humanity has forgotten him. One stone reads judgment, the other mercy, 2 opposing halves of the same message. Light and darkness coexist, and mankind is free to choose its path. Perhaps, just when humanity sinks into chaos, these stones emerge, like a final warning that the eye of heaven has never closed. When the rocks themselves speak, the first words they utter are not in human tongue, but in the voice of the one gazing down. The eighth phenomenon, a new miracle in Antarctica, where the ice is blooming. In the place considered the dead land of the planet, Antarctica, the only things that ever existed were ice and freezing winds. But recently, scientists have been stunned to see strange green patches spreading across the eternal ice. From the air, they look like flowers blooming on the white ground. But the closer you look, the more chilling it gets. Their spreading speed follows no known biological law. Those clusters of moss and microplants are growing 10 times faster than climate models allow. Areas that used to be frozen year-round now have warm water flows and melting ice in spiral patterns, as if some mysterious energy source is breathing new life into the Earth. At first, scientists thought this was a result of global warming, but when the data was cross-checked, a paradox emerged. Average temperatures in Antarctica aren't rising accordingly. In other words, what's happening isn't simply due to climate. Some geobiologists admit that the rate of change in Antarctica far exceeds every predictive model. They describe the scene as if the Earth is automatically regenerating in places that were once frozen, but not in a natural way. In some spots, the ice cracks open, as if it's breathing, revealing bright-colored geological layers never seen before. People are calling this phenomenon Antarctic bloom, ice blooming. For many believers, that image is no coincidence. Psalm 24, 1 inch, the Bible states, "The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it." If everything is in His hands, then when the land begins to shift out of order, it's not just natural change, it's a warning. Could the Creator be showing the world? When humans disrupt heaven's laws, the earth itself will change in response. From those tiny moss flowers on the ice, we can see a greater sign that creation is preparing for heaven's intervention. When ice, the symbol of stillness and death, suddenly bursts into bloom, it's time for humanity to ask, what is truly being awakened? Perhaps it's not the earth that's blooming, but heaven speaking, signaling that the world's winter is about to end and the season of judgment is drawing near. From sky-tearing whirlwinds, rivers turning to blood, to the ancient silent slab rising in Louisiana, each phenomenon seems to be weaving a strange cosmic symphony. No longer isolated events, but echoes of a grander program, where every element in creation is joining in a unified call. It feels like Earth is no longer silent, but speaking on behalf of the one who made it. Fire erupts in mountains, winds howl across oceans, ice blooms in the frigid Antarctic wilderness, stars align into a cross in the sky, all resounding in a common language, warning and awakening. If humans call it natural phenomena, the Bible calls it signs of the end times, when the whole creation groans, awaiting redemption. Romans 8:22. The universe, somehow, is suffering with humanity and awaiting an inevitable rebirth. Looking back at everything that's unfolded, it's hard to believe it's all just coincidence. From sky to Earth's core, from ancient stones to ocean waves, everything revolves around one axis, the axis of the Word. What seemed disconnected connects into a complete picture. When the human soul reaches its darkest limit, creation begins to mirror that fracture outwardly. The ground no longer stays silent. Water changes color, ice cracks, fire rises, as if the whole world is praying in unison or crying for help. And if we listen, behind every sound of nature, a deep, distant voice still echoes, "Return." A call from the depths of creation, where life began and where God will return. Those wonders don't come to terrify, but to awaken, not to destroy, but to prepare. Because when light and darkness coexist in a single moment, that's when history turns the page. And the question left for each of us, not when these events will end, but are we truly hearing that warning, or still standing motionless in our own storm? The sounds echoing across the globe, landslides, roaring seas, falling stars, are no longer coincidences. They are the heartbeat of the earth, pounding in the throes of labor. As the Bible foretold in Matthew 24:29, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky. Those ancient words are now unfolding before humanity's eyes. We are living at the intersection of history and prophecy. With each passing day, the veil between the seen and unseen grows thinner. From stars shifting course, to blood-red seas, to cracking earth, everything is crying out in unison, "Stay awake, for the hour is near," not as a threat, but as a call from creation itself. From the one who quietly watches humanity lost in delusion. This is no longer a matter of private faith. When strange winds sweep through, cities choked with smoke, when ice melts at the North Pole and fires rage in ancient forests, all creation groans together, awaiting redemption. As Romans 8:22 declares, the earth is crying out, not to destroy us, but to wake us from our long sleep. Perhaps humanity has never been closer to the edge of the return. Prophetic words are no longer metaphors. They are facts, a chain of signs blazing across sky and land. Every upheaval is not just nature's doing, but a mirror reflecting the human soul, where darkness and light wrestle daily. Yet amid the noise, his voice remains gentle. Do not fear, come back. No one is forgotten in heaven's plan. No matter how far you've strayed, pause, look up, and pray. His light is still waiting. Now is the time to wake up. Let go of resentment, indifference, and pride that darken the world. Trust in the Lord, for only in Him will your heart find true peace. Prepare a pure soul, not with grand words, but with small, daily acts. Start with what's closest: a sincere apology, a warm family meal, a hand extended to someone in pain. These seemingly small things are the foundation stones rebuilding the world, where love is restored, where compassion is rekindled. Every quiet act of kindness is a prayer rising to heaven. Pray each night, not out of fear, but gratitude, for we still have time to return. Share love like seeds on good soil, so when the Lord returns, He finds in your heart a blooming garden, not barren ground. Time is running out. The signs are not just warnings, they are opportunities. Opportunities for humanity to be made new, for every soul to be revived. And before the earth falls silent again, before the sky closes, open your heart to hear the whisper of the one who made all things. Come back, for the kingdom of heaven is near. Then, even if storms rage outside, your heart will be at peace, knowing the light never fades. He promised, and that promise is closer than ever. Stay awake, love deeply, and be ready, for when heaven calls your name, only those who keep light in their hearts will hear it clearest. And if you're hearing these words, it's not by chance. You may be the one chosen to wake others. Spread this message through actions, words, and the way you live each day. For sometimes, salvation begins not with miracles, but with a heart that loves and stays awake. Listen, for the call from creation is resounding, and this time, it may be the last. If you feel that call deep in your soul, join us in spreading this light. A like, a share, or subscribing isn't just a small act. It's how you help awaken lost hearts. Stay with us, so every video isn't just a story, but a journey back to the faith, hope, and love that God is still pouring out on humanity.
In the sky, as you can see, this is not a filter. That is...
The sky is shifting, and nobody can deny it. Lights streaking against the orbit, pillars of fire flaring in the dead of night, trumpet blasts echoing from the void. It's all hitting at once, like the heavens are gearing up for a grand return. The Bible put it plain: when the signs appear in the sky, the Son of Man won't be far behind. Since the dawn of creation, we've looked up for answers from the Creator. Every star, every eclipse, every blaze of light has made us wonder, is He trying to tell us something? But never in modern times have the mysteries piled up like this. Crosses glowing in the clouds, spirals twisting in the mist, invisible echoes leaving the whole world stunned. Is it just coincidence? Or are the ancient warnings finally coming due? If the sky really is speaking, do we still have time to listen? If you feel what's happening up there is more than weather, help us get the word out. A like, a share, a subscribe doesn't just keep you in the loop for the next sign. It wakes others up to look at the sky with fresh eyes. Because who knows? Right in that moment we stop, listen, and dig in, another sign might be slipping into view. So let's dive deeper. What the Bible actually says about signs in the sky, and why they're showing up now, exactly as foretold. Before we dive into the strange phenomena unfolding across the sky right now, let's first look at the biblical foundations. The prophecies spoken thousands of years ago that foretold events beyond human understanding. What's happening in the heavens today isn't random. The Bible laid it out clearly millennia ago. A sequence of signs would appear as the end drew near. And remarkably, one by one, they seem to be coming true in our lifetime. When Jesus spoke of the last days, He wasn't being metaphorical. In Matthew 24-29:30, He said, "The sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and then the Son of Man will appear in the clouds with great power and glory." That's not just a warning. It's a prophetic roadmap of cosmic upheaval before His return. Luke 21:25-28 echoes the same imagery. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. People will faint from terror at the roaring and tossing of the sea. Revelation 6:12-14 adds, "The sun turned black like sackcloth. The moon became blood red, and the stars fell to earth." These passages aren't isolated, they're synchronized. A chorus declaring, "The universe will shake before the Son of Man returns." These images are both natural and divine. On one level, they describe real physical events: solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, meteor showers, even rare astronomical phenomena. But deeper still, they reveal nature as the voice of the Creator, heralding a pivotal moment in salvation history. The Old Testament prophets heard the same warnings. In Joel 2:30-31, the Lord declares, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and columns of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and dreadful day of the Lord." This isn't poetic language, it's a foretelling. Isaiah 13:10 says, "The stars of heaven and their constellations will not show their light. The rising sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light." And in Amos 8-9, the Lord proclaims, "On that day I will make the sun go down at noon and darken the earth in broad daylight." All these point to the same truth. The lights of heaven will dim when the Son of Man is about to appear. In Scripture, the sky isn't just space, it's God's stage. Whenever He moves in human history, nature responds. The sea parted for Israel. The earth quaked when Christ breathed His last. The clouds blazed at His resurrection. Heavenly signs, then, are both a warning and a confirmation that His hand still turns the wheel of history. When something happens, like a blood moon, falling stars, strange auroras, or a total solar eclipse, people rush to scientific explanations. And sure, science can describe, measure, predict orbits. But what science can't do is interpret the sky's message. A solar eclipse might just be the moon blocking the sun. But if it happens at a pivotal moment, if it lines up with prophecies spoken thousands of years ago, then maybe it's not a coincidence. When nature and Scripture converge, something beyond human calculation is at play. And maybe that's why these recent signs leave so many unsettled, even trembling. Not because they fear eclipses or meteors, but because deep down they sense something coming, a shifting of heaven and earth, just as it was written long ago. If these prophecies are unfolding, then today's sky isn't just scenery, it's a message. A message to humanity. The time is near, and the Creator is stepping out of the unseen, ready once more to appear in the clouds with great glory. And now, you and I are stepping into the next leg of this journey together. The strange phenomena that defy human understanding, known only to the divine. The first phenomenon, the mysterious lights and the cross in the sky. That night, a glowing cross suddenly blazed across the Jerusalem skyline. No one had a clue what was happening. Hundreds just stared up in silence, trembling. The footage blew up online, then popped up in the US, Europe, Asia, 3 continents, one symbol, all within a single week. It got people wondering, could this be the sign the Bible talks about? The markers before the Son of Man returns to the clouds. In Luke 21:25-28, Jesus said, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud." Those words hit differently in a world already on edge. Scientists chalked it up to light refraction, ice crystal reflections, or atmospheric illusions. But here's the weird part. Why a cross? The ultimate symbol of faith. Why do these things show up right when the world's teetering on the brink? Wars, disasters, faith in freefall. Witnesses said they didn't feel scared. They felt called. A pull from above, not below. Goosebumps and something indescribable, like the sky was blinking a message just for us. Notice the pattern. Those lights always point upward. Pillars shooting straight through clouds, halos ringing the moon, lightning etching crosses mid-air. It's like the heavens are yanking our gaze skyward, forcing us to look past the mess down here and face what's coming. In Joel 2:30-31, God says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and billows of smoke." When the sky lights up, when crosses burn in the dark, maybe that's the fire and smoke Joel saw millennia ago. In Scripture, the sky isn't just space. It's God's stage. Every time He moves, nature reacts. The pillar of fire leading Israel out of Egypt. Sun going dark at the crucifixion. And now, crosses glowing at night. Doesn't that scream He's coming back? Some roll their eyes, call it coincidence. But in the Creator's plan, is anything random? These are coded signals. Only those still carrying the light of faith can read them. If these lights are warnings, then we're standing in the twilight zone, between the end of the old and the dawn of the new. A reboot in progress, a promise to cash in. Ask yourself, next time you look up and see a cross in the clouds, will you call it weather or the first ping of the return getting closer? The second phenomenon, blood moons and the tetrad of lunar eclipses aligning with Jewish feasts. In the hush of midnight, the moon suddenly turns a deep, bloody red. It's not the soft pink of dusk. This is a thick, ominous crimson that stains the sky like smoke from a distant fire. People look up and shiver, even knowing it's just an eclipse. Something stirs unease deep inside, as if the heavens are sounding a warning. Throughout history, a blood moon has been seen as an omen. What stunned the world, though, was the string of 4 total lunar eclipses in 2014, 2015, each one falling exactly on a major Jewish holiday, Passover or Sukkot, not off by a single day. The odds feel impossible. For Jews, these aren't just rituals. They're living memories of God's covenant, moments when He showed His power and led His people out of bondage. When blood moons shadowed those sacred days, whispers began. Could this be the sign for the covenant people the Scriptures foretold? In Joel 2:31, the prophet wrote over 2,500 years ago, "The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." Now, with modern cameras capturing 4 blood moons in a row, that ancient verse feels alive again, pulsing in our high-tech age. Science calls it orbital mechanics and light scattering. But millions insist nature doesn't do coincidence. Every blood moon has coincided with upheaval, wars, plagues, market crashes, fractured faith. Is the sky counting down each crimson glow a wake-up call? In Jerusalem, thousands of Jews stood atop the ancient walls, praying as the moon changed hue. Many wept, convinced it was a sign for Israel, a reminder of the old promise that the Lord would return to the land of the covenant. And sure enough, after that tetrad, the Middle East kept hitting historic turns. Surprise peace deals, sudden flare-ups of violence, everything circling that tiny strip of land as if Jerusalem were the bullseye of history. Some shrug and say it's just a cycle. Maybe. But perhaps, in God's design, cycles are his vocabulary. Every blood moon nudges us to remember. Time isn't endless, and what was foretold is drawing closer than ever. The next time the moon bleeds red, you won't just see an astronomical event. You'll hear a warning, a heavenly bell tolling. The hour is near. The third phenomenon, unexpected trumpet sounds echoing across humanity. The sky doesn't feel as silent anymore. These bizarre noises keep popping up out of nowhere in the middle of the air, with zero warning or clear explanation. Folks everywhere are looking up, getting chills, and wondering, are these the trumpets the Bible warned about, finally blaring out over a world that's fast asleep? From Canada and Ukraine to the US and Indonesia, hundreds of videos capture this deep, rumbling sound, like metal grinding together or a trumpet blasting from the clouds. Some call it sounds from heaven, others dismiss it as fake online crap. But when it lines up with meteor showers, asteroids, and wild atmospheric shifts, that uneasy feeling in people's guts just keeps growing. Science tries to explain it away. Maybe atmospheric waves or echoes from geological activity. But the real question is why it's happening way more often now, and why it hits us like a wake-up call. The overlap between hard data and ancient prophecies, could that really just be coincidence? In Revelation chapters 8-9, 7 angels get 7 trumpets, and each blast unleashes chaos on earth. Fire raining into the sea, waters turning bitter, darkness swallowing everything. When those fireballs tear across the sky, when that eerie rumble rolls down from the clouds, believers can't help asking, is this the first trumpet? Eyewitnesses say it's this mix of terror and fascination. Some burst into tears, others just froze in place. They have no idea what it is, they just know something massive is closing in. Like the earth itself is stirring awake, like heaven's knocking on humanity's door. If you look at it through eyes of faith, every coincidence starts to feel like a nudge. From shooting stars slashing the night to sounds piercing the atmosphere, they might all be harmonizing with that Bible message. Stay awake, because the Son of Man will come at an hour you least expect. Matthew 24-44. To scientists, sure, it's just normal physics. But to those who are truly listening, it's a call from above, terrifying, yet sacred. And maybe the scariest part isn't the sound itself. It's the silence in our hearts before that final trumpet blows. The final phenomenon, an anomalous aurora that scientists can't fully explain. When the northern skies light up, nobody bats an eye. But when crimson-violet auroras spill all the way down to Vietnam, Mexico, or even Texas, people realize the heavens are rewriting their rules. What was once a wondrous natural spectacle has turned into a mysterious veil draping the entire world. Stunning, terrifying, like a warning scrawled in light. Viral clips flood social media. Skies bleeding red, glowing sea green, blazing purple like living flame. Folks stand in the dark, heads tilted back, phones forgotten in their hands, speechless. Many shiver, not from the chill, but from a gut feeling that something up there is stirring awake. Scientists jump in fast. They talk about the strongest solar storm in over 2 decades, massive plasma jets erupting from sunspots, Earth's magnetic field bending so far that auroras spill into the tropics. A rarity that's only happened a handful of times in recorded history. Yet even in their explanations, gaps remain. Why does it coincide with a world already teetering? Wars, crises, end times dread, spreading like wildfire. Through the lens of faith, auroras aren't just light. They're a clash between realms, brightness and shadow. Scripture warned that before the great day of the Lord, the sun will darken and the moon turn blood red. Joel 2:31.